Well, this is the Art of Suffrage, brought to you by the Lockport Public Arts Council.
And the exhibit will be running at the Kenan Center from February 9th through March 29th. And it is a celebration of the centennial of the 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote. And so the exhibit is made up of Mary's collection of memorabilia and photos from the struggle, the 72-year struggle to get the right to vote. So, and Mary's been quite the expert on that, and so this is a nice way to present her collection. And then we have other interactive exhibits as well.
So what people would be expecting to see when they came would be some original art, original memorabilia from approximately 1869 through the passage in 1920. And there are any number of things, from porcelain objects to buttons to gorgeous magazine covers, correspondence that I had with Miss Paul, who was really the architect of she was the militant leader of the National Women's Party, and ultimately was responsible, in my opinion, for the passage of the 19th Amendment. This was, a 72-year struggle for women in the United States, from 1848 with the Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, which most people would know from having learned about it in school, but I think that's where it stops for many people. They don't really know anyone beyond Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and there were oh so many others. So this room is the room of untold stories, and it would be the women who were marginalized during the suffrage movement: Native Americans, African Americans, lesbians, women who just did not conform to just the stereotypes or to the roles that society expected them to.
This is Harriet Tubman, who was a suffragist as well as an abolitionist and a hero of the Underground Railroad. This is Ida B. Wells, who was a journalist of great renown, and she refused to, go to the back of the line and marched with white women. This is Sojourner Truth, who has a fascinating story and gave an extemporaneous speech called "I Am a Woman" or "Ain't I a Woman," and it kind of crystallized what the issues were for both being African American and a woman. This one is Gertrude Bustle Moselle, and she was married to Nathan Moselle, who was from Lockport, and his father was the one that integrated the schools in Lockport. This is Marie Baldwin, and she was a Native American who was a lawyer. She marched in the 1913 parade with other lawyers, and she was just an incredibly accomplished woman. A lot of these women were college educated and lawyers and so on, and did amazing things. But their stories have not been told, we don't think. And the art part of this comes in with both anti and pro suffragists used art as propaganda and as a means of persuasion. So there are many covers of magazines showing pro-suffrage, but there were many magazine covers and other art meant to discourage people from voting for suffrage, discourage men for voting
in a very demonizing way.
Yes.
Very demonizing of the way women were portrayed who were demanding the right to vote. So you will see that, and some of the things are quite honestly very shocking. And you might wonder why we're standing in front of a jail cell, and who this woman is. So this is a jail cell that my husband actually designed, and we have a jail cell door that was based on a pin that Miss Paul gave to 168 women who had been imprisoned. And so inside here we have Alice Paul, who, as I mentioned, was the militant leader of the National Women's Party. And so this jail cell is really to acknowledge and recognize the 500 women who were arrested. 168 of them were imprisoned, tortured, brutalized, force-fed, some very difficult things that people may not realize went into the fight for suffrage.